Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today in front of us is the five different LEGO Rise of Skywalker sets. They came to us directly from the LEGO group, so thanks a lot guys for sending these sets over to us to do a review. I'm going to be doing a basic overview of what I think about the wave and an individual review for each of the sets, and also do a breakdown for what I think are the best sets for part to price, if that's still a thing you guys are interested in, or for, you know, what sets I think are the best for minifigures. You'll see relevant comparisons with old sets of the same type of ship. And yeah, so the general first impressions, I do gotta say, is that this wave is pretty darn high quality in terms of the actual structure of the builds. This Kylo Ren's shuttle is probably my favorite in terms of the actual internal techniques used to make such wonderful shapes. And for the most part, even with some of the sets that have been done several times over, or sets very similar to like this A-Wing, for example, I think there are some pretty nice updates, the Falcon especially. So anyways, I feel like talking about the figs first, so I think I'm gonna actually do a big old breakdown with all the figs from all the sets. Also, very quickly, if you enjoy our content, feel free to like or subscribe. Remember to turn on the notification bell, all that jazz, and comment in the comment section below. The latest Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker trailer just came out, I think yesterday, so we've been talking about it a lot here in the studio. And my own personal theory, I think I thought of this on my own, but my own personal theory, Rey is a Knight of Ren, and she just doesn't remember it, and then she'll like remember at some point and be like evil for a second and probably turn good again. That's my theory. Anyways, let's get into the minifigures. What you're looking at here are all the figs lined up in front of their respective sets. In total, there are 24 figures, 18 of which are exclusive new versions of figures, though a few of them are so similar to old ones that it almost doesn't count. I'll get into all those details. Personally, I think the Kylo Ren's Shuttle has the best set for figures. There are a lot of really highly detailed new exclusive figs. 5 of the 6 are exclusive to the set, and they're all pretty darn detailed. There are 7 in the Millennium Falcon set, though only 3 are actually exclusive to the set. These are all pretty common guys. At least Dio is new, but he came out in 2 sets. Here has probably my single favorite minifigure, Bliss something. I don't have the list in front of me right now, but she's probably my favorite fig. And this guy I thought was a stormtrooper, but he's actually the tread speeder driver. It's a terrible name for a figure, too many R's. And then probably my favorite nostalgic figure, or at least favorite new characters, we finally got Connix, Lieutenant Connix, which is Carrie Fisher's daughter, and they actually used an expression that was originally designed for Princess Leia on that figure. So that's really cool. Anyways, let's jump into the figs, and let's start with my favorite set first. Alrighty, we are starting off with the Knights of Ren first. They don't have any specific names, it just says 2 Knights of Ren, though they're completely different figures, and they've got some exclusive new pieces for here. This is a new hood mold. It came out on Obi-Wan, but it's now molded in black. I'm sure we're going to be seeing this piece in black a lot more, though. And this is a brand new helmet mold as well. Let me take off some of the accessories so you can see the prints. Now you can see these guys a bit more clearly. This guy actually doesn't have a helmet, a face print, I should say. It's just a black head. So he's actually, he looks better, of course, with the helmet on, and very, very highly detailed robe detailing and just kind of general outfit costuming for both of these guys. He's got a bit of metallic silver printed on there for him. And yeah, very good looking exclusive figs. With their accessories, they look even better. And let's move on to the next 2 guys. We've got Kylo Ren here. The body for him is actually the same as the body was before, but you can see all the red line detailing that makes up his recovered or repaired helmet, it looks like, after he smashed it the last time. He's got a couple of expressions. I really like that alternate one. And yeah, there's Kylo Ren. An update that I think is pretty much expected. And then there's this Sith Trooper, the first Sith Trooper that we've had from the canon version of Star Wars. There actually were older Sith troopers from like the Old Republic, I think, from like a battle pack set like a long time ago. But this is basically a red version of the standard First Order Stormtrooper, but with just different print detailing. The helmet mold is the same, though it does look like it has a slightly different shape in the actual universe when you look at these figures, when you look at the characters like in the movie. So really good looking guy, though. He's got a different gun there with a special red scope, it kind of looks like, on a slightly larger blaster. They should be more effective than standard First Order Stormtroopers, and he looks really good as a figure. And now we're looking at General Pride. He's a new character. No Hux this time, which I'm fine with. He's actually built, he's in the molded gunmetal, slightly reflective metallic look, and the robe detailing for him is incredibly simple. You don't even see any of the standard markings that usually officers would have. This is your standard First Order Stormtrooper. Technically, this has gone through an update from the 2015 original version, though this guy's not actually exclusive. Now let's jump on over to the Falcon figs. These guys should be a little bit quicker. Top two from the Falcon for me is Lando Calrissian. This is the older version of him. And a new character we don't know. His name is Boolio, which is good because I thought they were going to choose a silly name for him. You definitely know that is a zip-up jumpsuit because there's no way an alien with horned head like that is going to be putting on a t-shirt anytime soon. Probably wins best mold, best single mold from this wave. That's a brand new alien head mold. Looks great with the printing. He's got these nice prints for eyes and stuff like that. And then Lando Calrissian. He looks like Lando. That doesn't surprise me at all. They didn't really change up his classic look too much. He's still got a yellow shirt, blue on the inside of the cape, black on the outside with a big old collary frill thing. Looks like he's also got a certain type of bowcaster weapon, which is kind of interesting, made with a tread piece and a silver blaster rifle. He's got another little like cane or something. Good looking prints all around. Really like both of these guys. And they did a great job with Finn as well. Just look at all the different colors on the character. The tan matches up nicely with the nougat torso piece that works as a vest. The satchel kind of matches up with a lot of the other holsters. He's got a holster similar to Han Solo, which I thought was kind of interesting. And yeah, there's the basic print on the back. Still nice though. You can see some nice little stitching details. And I totally forgot to show Lando's alternate expression. That's him. He looks a little bit quizzical. And then this is Finn's alternate expression. Very Finn. This definitely matches up with his character pretty darn well. Now the rest of these guys, nice figs. It's not like I don't like Chewbacca. Everybody loves Chewbacca. This is the same version of him that we've gotten a bunch of times over. Still a good looking figure. Same thing goes for C-3PO. C-3PO is the same C-3PO that we've had plenty of times before. It would have been kind of cool if we got like a red-eyed version of him like we saw in the trailer, but who knows. And all right, let me turn that down. There is R2-D2. Same old R2. He looks good still. Everybody likes R2. And now, D-O. This is little D-O. This is little D-O down here at the bottom. Nice little mold. Nice little individual mold made for this guy. There's obviously no way he'd be able to roll around in any meaningful way. Same thing with BB-8. It's a good looking mold. I hope he's a cool character. I have a feeling he's going to be another sort of cutesy comic relief type droid with another weird little beepy sound that he makes like all the other guys do. And all right, let's move on. The only logical next step for me is to move on to the Resistance Y-wing because we have some very interesting minifigs here. This next figure here is Zori Bliss, definitely my favorite from this set and probably the best one from the wave. She's got a very Django type feel. Just for me, you know, it's the helmet kind of has a Mandalorian shape to it, maybe more Daft Punk than Mandalorian, but she's got these two dual-wielding pistols, and they're the old musket-style pieces that you saw from pirate sets way back in the day. In fact, in this color, you saw it from a collectible minifigure not too long ago, but you know how the original Django had the old pistol pieces from back in the day? This definitely reminds me of that just in terms of a production standpoint. The dark red contrasts amazingly well with the gold print. It's a black head, there's nothing in there, so you can't see any face. You might not ever see the face of this figure, but she does look like she could be an alien because of the way the helmet is molded in the back. Like they could be rolled up Twi'lek tentacle thingies on the back of the head, maybe. That would be kind of cool, but who knows? Definitely a great looking mold for the helmet though. And this is an astromech droid. They didn't come with a number. There's no specific name for this droid. It's just a nice looking droid in a wonderful color. We never got such a colorful looking droid before, I don't think. And now we're looking at Poe. Poe Dameron is not in his flight suit, not at all. In fact, he's got just he's got a white shirt, a scarf that kind of goes around his neck. You can see it in the back there. He's got a satchel piece, and just in general, good looking print detailing. This is always just kind of a fun detailing to have for a figure. Makes for cool custom building later down the line. This is his alternate expression. I don't believe this is any exclusive expression. And now we're looking at technically an exclusive snowtrooper. I think what makes this snowtrooper exclusive, I didn't actually check, is perhaps I think maybe some of the printing is slightly different, but I don't believe the snowtroopers the last time had a white cape, so they're slightly different, the First Order snowtrooper here. So exclusive release technically, just for this set because it's slightly different from the last time we saw one, and another DO. I suppose the next logical conclusion, if we're just moving down the line, is from the Pisana Speeder Chase. And first up is going to be Rey. This is the first version of Rey we get in white, in her white costume or her white clothes here. This is her alternate expression. I don't believe that is different from her last expression from the last time we saw her. Same thing goes for like the hair piece and everything. It really is just the two prints for the leg and chest, or the torso piece really, that make up this character. I do like the gray shading though underneath the hood. It's definitely a detailed print all around. And now we're looking at a guy that I know a lot of people were pretty excited to get, at least in terms of a trooper. This is relatively rare and unique. This is the Jet Trooper, or technically First Order Jet Trooper. This mold here is new, and this is actually a 1x1 tile that fits in just about perfectly there with a print on the back that kind of matches up with the same print symbol on the front as well. So pretty darn good looking guy. This is his expression, same old expression, but excellent mold for that helmet. Very, very nice. Technically, the leg printing is the same as what we saw on a regular Stormtrooper, and now I thought this was a regular First Order Stormtrooper, but if you actually look at, this is a regular one, kind of back here, printing for the chest and for the legs are actually different. So he is technically exclusive, though the helmet is the same, and he is the, Tread Speeder Driver, and the full name is First Order Tread Speeder Driver. It's just like, doesn't really roll off the tongue well. I guess it's unique, it's fine. I suppose that's kind of cool, though it doesn't really matter. I would have been fine with a regular Stormtrooper. And we have BB-8, same old guy we've seen every time we've gotten BB-8. He's incredibly common. Now let's just jump on over to the last set with the Resistance A-Wing. And right here is Lieutenant Connix and Snap Wexley. Snap Wexley is technically considered an exclusive release. I looked him up on BrickLink, and the only thing that I could find that was really different about him is maybe there's a little bit more scruff detailing in his beard, but the expression and all the printing on his body and the helmet are pretty much exactly the same as the last time we saw him. So this is like a technicality, technically exclusive. Sorry. And then here is Lieutenant Connix. And I just really love that they made Carrie Fisher's daughter's character, the lieutenant, an actual minifigure. This facial expression appeared, I think, on the Endor version of Princess Leia from 2015. This expression in this combination, I think, appeared later with like a Harry Potter set or something. So the head is technically not an exclusive head, but this is originally a print made for Carrie Fisher's, Princess Leia's character. So that's awesome. And yeah, other than that, pretty darn good looking detailing for a jacket, front and back. It's actually relatively stylish for a Resistance trooper, or sorry, lieutenant, I should say. This is the 2015 Falcon from the Force Awakens sets. Technically, there's the solo one that's white and blue, but the basic build for it is pretty much exactly the same for the most part, so I decided to just go with this one from 2015 because, you know, the colors are so similar. It's easier to see the differences. There's some pieces now that exist nowadays that didn't from before, namely the 4x6 wedge wing plate here, which gives you this angle that allows this line to be perfectly smooth. See how it cuts in on the circular bit and then it comes out? That doesn't exist on the normal Falcon, and proportionally, it just feels very strange. Also, this circular bit kind of cuts in and you can see the full sphere, really, and then these are just kind of glommed on, where the circle actually kind of bleeds perfectly in and this kind of overlaps, so it just draws your eye in a completely different way. Much, much better. You'll also see, just in general, all of these little gaps and stuff, and to open it up, you actually have to individually grab like every single little thing to get it open. No gaps, or hardly any gaps, and to get it open, they're actually connected in much larger chunks, so it's easier to handle, and it also looks better. So plus, that's huge. It makes it a lot better. This is probably going to be the last Falcon that LEGO sells for a long time. There's a few other detailing differences, but for the most part, now we can just look individually at this particular model. Just kidding, I lied. I'm still comparing these two. This is the 2015 one. Look how much more space is opened up here in the back. This is all brick built with a lot of light bluish, light trans blue tiles, and then just one tiny little sliver there, and it juts out like a lot bigger. You can see how the pizza shape, there's this extra kind of build that sticks out in the back. There's a little bit of that here in the Falcon, done with some panel pieces, but it's much, much thinner. It's so much better. This just looks so much better on the outside. Okay, let's check out the interiors. Now, from a bird's eye view, or at least a much higher angle, you can see that this latest model has quite a bit of open space in the back, a little bit of detailing, like a little kitchen area for minifigures to interact with, just a little bit of storage area. There you can see the hyperdrive, couple of beds, pretty open towards the back. Now here, the old version, I do appreciate a little bit more of the clutter and detail and stuff, but there's a lot less space for minifigures, and technically less space for minifigures to interact with stuff, really. I mean, there is like an actual kitchen for minifigures to like show that they're doing something. I suppose you could have Han or Chewie just kind of messing about with some junk back there, but definitely less space and not as much interactive stuff there. The beds are in pretty much the same position. Also, in the new one back here, when you zoom in, you can see that there is another little smuggling spot, so you can hide stuff in there because this is a smuggling ship after all. And then when looking at the front of the models, the biggest difference is that the latest one has no gap between this angular hallway that leads towards the cockpit, and this one does, but it's kind of useless because you can't really get your hands in there anyway, so it kind of just takes up extra space. The original has some detailing for a control area here. That's one sticker and a simple seat. The latest one has the same details broken up into some smaller stickers and a slightly better build for a seat. Also, the seats here for the actual gambling table are a little bit more detailed. There are 3 spots to sit. It looks a little smoother. Yeah, there you go. That's the old one. Yeah, not quite as good, only 2 seats there, but everything here looks kind of similar, so there's not too many differences, I gotta say, within the interiors, though if I had to choose, I do think this one is just a little bit more accessible. And now that we've done a baseline comparison, let me just very quickly show you guys what that cockpit looks like in there. There are 2 staggered seats, so you can have 2 minifigures sitting down, and that little jumper piece can have DO in the back there. It's pretty basic, but I feel like there's so much to get through in this episode. Let's move on to Kylo Ren's shuttle. All right, it should be pretty easy to tell which one is the new one, which one's the 2015 old one. Obviously, the color was off here, and that upset a lot of people because it was like, it's a black ship, why didn't you just make it in black? But what's interesting, it kind of gets, this old one gets gets a little bit stuck, but the wing folding function, feel that? The wing folding function is pretty much the same when it comes to the old one and the new one. This one I feel like is slightly easier. Well, it's certainly a lot smoother, though the actual folding mechanism is almost identical. So when it gets dusty, it might get a little stiffer like the old model. But anyways, yes, just looking at the details of Kylo's shuttle, really, really nice. Really, really nice in the black. It looks a whole heck of a lot better. And then, of course, the number one thing outside of the fact that the original was molded in the wrong color or was built in the wrong color, the wings fold out correctly. This is the flight mode, and it's so easy. You can actually kind of, the weight of it can kind of like shake it into place, somewhat at least. But there you go, yeah. The engine here, actually, yeah, look, the weight of this thing kind of has it fold out on its open for the most part, but originally it is supposed to be a engine twisting function here. This one engine is part of the gear right there. So pretty easy to get it in and out of flight mode. And yeah, pretty nice. This one doesn't have a flight mode like that. It just has the wing folding, which is basically, I would say, half a function. But even when you turn these two around and just look at the general details from side to side, there's still, I think, just better and more greebling detail here than you do have in the gray version. So now let's just exclusively focus on this guy. So folding this down to its most compact size, it's pretty easy. I still like that function. I kind of see why Lego held on to it for both versions, or something very, very similar for both versions. But once you do that, you are left with a model that just can be a little bit more compact, a little bit easier to handle. And here's just a closer look at some of those details on the top. Really, really nice looking interior. There's space for 3 figs, which is nice. You can fit at least half of the figures in this one spot here. Yeah, looks pretty darn good. I don't know what else to tell you other than just showing you some of the major details. I didn't show the shooting function on the Falcon, but these are the triggers for the green shots that can be shot out of the front there. So yeah, you have a couple of shooting features, really easy to handle and swoosh around, even when you have the wings completely folded all the way out. And also, I'd say my favorite feature of this model is probably the build for the red windscreen, or the red just kind of glowy bit in the front. I suppose that is a windscreen, or a build that is made to look like it. Looks pretty darn good from here, and let's move on to the next model. All right, it looks like these reviews are going to be all comparison reviews, which is actually kind of fun for me. This is the latest Y-wing set that we got not too long ago, and here we have the Resistance Y-wing with the red highlights, and there's definitely some different design features. What you'll notice is that the head is longer, it's also thinner, it's also smoother, which is plus. I think in terms of accuracy, if they're trying to go for what an original outline of a Y-wing looks like, if this is basically just a red version of the original Y-wing with that maybe is broken down a little bit more, then I would say accuracy plus. From the slightly higher angle, you'll see that the length is actually, the red one's a little bit longer, the Resistance one is a little bit longer, and when I pick up both of the models, you can get a better idea of just kind of the general shape. This feels a lot smoother, it's definitely a lot thinner around the edges. This is very boxy, while this one looks so much more accurate. So I like that. And then also check out this turret. It's kind of got like this tiered, kind of built down circular mode here. Looks cool. It kind of reminds me of the earlier version of the Y-wing, where this was a domed top turret. It kind of looks like that. So this might actually be a throwback to something that we saw even earlier in the Star Wars saga. And just in general, though, the build details here are just pretty fun. Pretty much the same bomb dropping mechanism is built into this Y-wing, just like the last Y-wing. There's some smooth curved pieces which I think is probably the most noticeable thing, at least it is for me in terms of the greebling detailing. The shoulders have been broken down. It looks like that used to be a rounded over bit, but I think they're just broken away. And then in general, the build for the engine actually hasn't changed a whole lot since the last one. It's just a little bit longer. It's slightly different pieces used, like the back of the engine detailing for sure has changed. Like this definitely looks different, but it doesn't look so different that it really feels wholeheartedly, completely unique. Oh, one of the bombs dropped out. But anyways, there's that. Obviously, you can fit an astromech droid into the very top like this. And something that I noticed in the set, the box art, it's actually this character that is piloting the bomber, which is interesting. Poe comes in this set. I would have assumed that he would have been the pilot, so I think that's just kind of interesting that Poe isn't the actual pilot. But yeah, let's check out the interior. Very basic. I'm kind of just jumping through a little bit now. But yeah, I do overall like this design for the Y-wing, just as a general playset. I'm not going to be doing a comparison with our Y-wing or Jarek's design from the web store, because that would simply be unfair. But anyways, we do have a web store if you want to check it out. It's linked in the description below. Custom Lego building instructions for highly accurate minifigure scale mocks and a bunch of other amazing, wonderful creations. Highly recommend you check it out. Linked in the description below. Let's move on. And here we have the Pisana Speeder Chase. This is actually a pretty creative set. This is the only one where I don't have a comparison set to do for you, because we've never gotten either of these speeders. They're brand spanking new to the universe of Star Wars. This one is such a fun one. It's built in just one bag, and I like it a lot. It feels very clean. It feels very complete, and surprisingly intricate little building technique that makes up the tread combination here that gets the studs kind of in on both sides. It's a really fun little build. Maybe my favorite of any of the small builds from this wave. And then this is actually a pretty creative look for a speeder. I gotta say, it feels a little bit more like a skiff, like a desert skiff. But I'm assuming it's a bit faster. It's got this extra engine on one side and an interesting way to control the vehicle. Also, this is the only bit of land building from any of the sets from the Rise of Skywalker wave, which is kind of funny. I'm into it. I'm all about the vehicles anyways. And so let me get a closer angle in on the main speeder. Here is the Pisana speeder, just a little bit closer, a little bit lower. You can see Rey is stood in there where she'd be operating what I'm going to assume is the rudder. These two rudders in universe probably turn from side to side, so it probably operates in a similar way to how a boat works, which also leads me more to skiff than speeder. But just in general, nice bit of bar detail building. It's not sticker reliant, I'll say, but there's some large stickers that offer a bit more heavily weathered detailing. It feels pretty cartoony and bright still. I like this little flag that's sticking up at the top. The build for the rudders themselves are actually pretty simple, but kind of fun. I actually like putting it together. This detailing here is the top of like a roll cage for like a construction vehicle, but it's clipped in on its side, so looks nice. It looks like from the trailer that a larger part of the ensemble is actually in this speeder running away. So you only get Rey, which feels just kind of weird in terms of like minifigure choices, but obviously you can't have like 5 or 6 main characters all in one relatively small set. Fun looking build. I did show this off earlier, but I just want to show that this thing rolls around pretty nicely. I'm pushing it down. This is me not pushing it down. It doesn't really track, but with just a little bit of pressure, this thing is able to roll around. It's got a couple of stud guns on either side. They integrate quite well. Pretty easy spot for a minifigure to sit down. Looks pretty darn good. And then very quickly, there is this crazy like chainsaw with like a lightsaber blade. Super weird. Couple other little things. I like the blue and red though. It's just kind of a nice little color combo. And right, you already saw the figs. Let's move down. Now for the final review / comparison. This is the Resistance A-Wing, the new one. I can't remember which one this is. We have so many sets that are lying on the shelf that I grabbed one that felt like a pretty good rendition of a pretty contemporary classic classic looking A-wing. I haven't actually checked the width here. Yeah, they're the same width for the body, which I was kind of hoping that this one would be thinner because technically the Resistance A-wing for the new updated version, it's actually the kind of got the most changes. Maybe the X-wing does, but the Resistance A-wing is a close follow. It should actually be slightly longer and thinner. But yeah, in general, good looking build for an A-wing. It's almost like the same build design and approach. This has got like a slightly more harsh angle. This one is a little bit less, which is, I think, just more accurate. Yeah, it's almost the exact same kind of build, obviously with different colors. The back part of the cockpit here has changed a bit. That's probably the biggest difference between the Resistance one and the original RZ1. And yeah, it's funny. This came off when I was transferring. I think that's what the foot looks like. It broke off in the bag, and I just like it reattached it. But anyways, yeah, it's got landing gear, the whole deal, kind of folds in and out, not too bad. This is what the inside of the cockpit looks like. Just, yeah, there you go. You can see a little bit, not too much, but the minifigure pilot can sit in there nice and deep. And that, yeah, you know, it moves up and down. Let me just make sure that I hit all the sides here. I like this little symbol down here, the sticker detailing. Oh, right, and almost forgot, you see these little pegs down here in the front. It's still like exactly the same. That is the trigger that activates the spring-loaded shots, just like from the original, it's not original, but like the earlier version. So it's literally the exact same function. So very, very similar to the old version. Not bad though. I think LEGO just knows that people like A-wings. There's going to be a big A-wing battle, or at least a battle with A-wings in the latest movie, so they thought they'd make one. Anyways, let's check them out all together. Righto, so final thoughts. I gotta say, best update probably goes to the Kylo Ren Shuttle, just because it's in black and the wings actually splay out like they're supposed to. So good on you. It's actually a pretty good technique on how they get those wings to come out. A very close second is the Millennium Falcon, just because we've been getting so many repeats of the design for like a decade or something. They finally, and really in a good way, they actually improved it quite a lot. Some having to do with new pieces, but for the most part, just a better technique. The Y-wing is good. I mean, it's a safe way to go. Same thing with the A-wing. There isn't a whole lot different about the designs. The A-wing is very similar to the last one. It's basically just a color change, and they called it the Resistance. And for creativity, the Pisana Speeder Chase is actually, both of those vehicle builds are actually kind of fun. And I like that they are new, because at the end of the day, update, 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 update. I mean, they're all kind of a little different, some of them. But yeah, so the builds are safe. I would say you won't be disappointed with the quality of any of the builds. Minifigures, pretty happy all the way around. Best minifigures for sure come from the Kylo Ren Shuttle, and my favorite single character comes from the Y-wing, but there's some pretty nice prints to be had all around. So anyways, that's my basic take on this latest wave of the Rise of Skywalker sets. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's kind of a long one. If you did stick around this long in the video, thanks so much for watching. Feel free to like or subscribe, comment, do what you want to do, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.